Halloween is right around the corner. What better way to get into the spirit than play horror games all month long? Upon investigating some games, I found Maid of Sker, a horror game that immediately gave me Spencer Mansion and Baker Estate vibes from the trailers alone, showing a beautiful scenery mixed with occult-like monsters and a haunting nightscape and creatures that roam that look straight out of nightmares. Released back in June this year, it's gotten some really positive reviews, and for less than half the price of a new game, it seemed like a steal. So join me as we travel to Scare Point and find out what's really happening here.
Dearest Thomas, these are not words I wish to write.
You play as Thomas, and you're on your way to Scare Hotel, requested by your girlfriend Elizabeth. However, instead of being a peaceful holiday in the countryside, she's been taken captive in the family hotel and is being used to fulfill some kind of darkness that lurks within. She's tasked you with composing a piece of music to help her reverse the darkness's onset, but upon arriving at the hotel, it's very clear that things are not the way they should be. The hotel has guests waiting for you. The Quiet Men. Attracted to sound and eager to silence it, you'll have to stop a nefarious plan that goes deeper than family and learn of the mysteries within. Will you break through and save Elizabeth, or fall victim to the creatures that lurk the hotel? As you make your way through the hotel's many locations, it'll play out much like any Resident Evil game. Doors will require special keys to open up, and puzzles involving components scattered about. But as you make your way through the hallways and lower sections, the ambience that accompanies you is absolutely amazing. Whether it's the tune of the save rooms playing ominously as you chart out your next move, or the shuffling of others moving in closer to your location, or even the buzzing of electronics as you flip switches to activate secrets and puzzles. The voice acting does well here too, as you can tell when the characters get distressed, or when the save room plays their recordings, you get a glimpse into what was really happening at the time.
That's all well and good you saying that, but I don't see why I shall need your assistance.
I like it less than you. I have other jobs need attending, but your father insisted. Make sure she practices. She must be ready. His very words.
Be ready for what?
This here contraption is spinning, so go on with you. Start your
You
singing.
said be ready for what?
Well, how should I fucking know my brother's mind? Fucking hell, lass, are you bloody well gonna sing or what?
Fine.
However, where this game differs from many of the other survival horror games it shares aspects with, is most of the game you'll spend defenseless. That's right, you're left to your wits and how well you can creep around. See, instead of most horror games having the enemies rely on sight to catch you, the Quiet Men rely on the sound of your footsteps and breathing to find you. Yes, breathing plays a huge part here, as while you're sneaking through areas, sometimes there will be a fire kicking up smoke, or a cloud of poison gas as your character will begin to cough. This will have the Quiet Men chasing after you, so you'll have to hold your breath as you navigate around them. But of course, this can't be that easy. The longer you hold your breath, Thomas's vision will go hazy and he'll start to sway, and once you stop, he'll let out a huge noise as he gasps for air. So you'll spend a large portion of the game slowly making your way around patrols to get where you need to go. That's not to say you won't be able to defend yourself later on, because sometime into the main story you'll get a modulator that can stun enemies for a moment by blaring music to put some space in between you. But you'll need to get away quick because the stun doesn't last for long and the ammo is incredibly limited. This rule applies to all but 2 enemies in the game. One of them acts much like Mr. X from Resident Evil 2 in the sense that he will chase after you relentlessly and neither hiding or using your stun will work here, and the other is more as a test of patience than a true threat, waiting for cues to move and activate pieces while waiting on the other cue to stop moving. I really enjoyed the first half of this game. There's enough going on and the pacing is spot on as to introduce you to some of the enemies, the basic rooms and navigation, and even some of the sequences that happen when you make it out of the house. But where I feel like the game is kind of missing the mark is when it comes to backtracking in some of the later areas. Now, backtracking is an important part in a game like this, and I get that, but because of the fact that you'll be crouching and moving at what feels like a snail's pace, it really makes going from one hallway to another feel like forever. Whereas in Resident Evil, because you can run and actually engage with the enemy, backtracking doesn't feel like that big of a chore. Besides that, the game actually has a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that I encourage you to be on the lookout for. As you play, you'll come across excerpts from diaries or just notes written about characters, and these give such detail to the world that you're in. These can give insight to family history, shading dealings, and ill-gotten wealth, and mix these with the voice recordings in the same rooms, and this adds up to be world building that kept me invested from start to finish. Albeit some of the later stages do lose some of the thrill and scare factor, but considering the game is only about 5 hours long, the shake-up of gameplay wasn't a bad touch. I enjoyed my time with the game, and I thought the puzzles presented here were well thought out, if maybe even a little too thought out, as I had to brute force my way through some. But if you're a fan of old school Resident Evil games and want a different spin on the genre, I'd say this is a solid game to check out. And with 2 possible endings, the replayability is there, if you're willing to venture back into Scare Hotel.